Hi. Wow. Last week you guys tore it up on Blackboard with your discussion of whole systems leadership. I commend you. Now, this week we move to the concept of servant leadership, which I mentioned the first week in my introductory video. In my mind, whole systems leadership and servant leadership are not different ways of thinking about leadership, but rather complementary ways of thinking about leadership. Servant leadership is a way of living out whole systems leadership, and whole systems leadership gives us a way to put the specific actions and behaviors of servant leadership into action. Both focus on the inner life and the perspective of the leader, as well as the way the leader lives out his or her values, beliefs, and passions in carrying out their role as a leader. Now, last week we looked at Dr. William Haidt and asked in what ways was he taking into account or would need to take into account all the dimensions of whole systems leadership. And we read that Dr. Haidt referred to himself as a servant leader to the search committee and to anyone who asked, and the SRC that eventually hired him. Now, I have to admit that I'm always a bit nervous when someone refers to themselves as a servant leader. In some ways, I think that is for others to say. I've heard too many so-called servant leaders who use that title as a way to manipulate people into doing what they want rather than to helping that group of people reach their full potential. I like to think of myself as striving to be a servant leader, but those being served by me hold the final word on whether or not that's true. Be that as it may, servant leadership is a process and an aspiration more than a destination. We are always striving toward being a servant leader. And on our good days, we succeed. And on our not so good days, we learn from our mistakes how to serve and lead better. Now, in our discussion this week, we're going to look at the case of Dr. Paul Farmer that is spelled out in the Northouse book Leadership in the 6th edition. For those who don't have the 6th edition, I will be posting that case in the discussion area, so you'll have that to read. I also hope you'll take time to view the PowerPoint that I put together and is listed in the discussion area, which will highlight what I believe are the essential elements of servant leadership. And then go and read about Paul Farmer and learn from the example of this amazing man who has come to be considered the world's leading expert on AIDS and tuberculosis, and yet still lives among the poor in Haiti and in other parts of the world. And in the process, I hope we can gain a firmer hold on our understanding of what it means to be a true servant leader. I look forward to reading your postings and interacting with you this week on this very important topic.